Hi, thanks for taking the time to click this video. It's not one of my usual uploads, but it's definitely centered around gameplay, and it's probably a format I plan to dabble into more, continuing with my channel. Then this discussion it's a lack of difficulty setting in Avengers. Well, I should rephrase that. It was in the game, but it was removed like during the first year, and that's one crucial information to take note. Just for a short explanation, I'm talking about the brutal challenge. And also, just to stay on topic and keep this short, if you have any questions about brutal enemies specifically, just ask in the comments and I'll leave an explanation as well in the description. Also, would like to point out, if by some reason Avengers is ending in a year and they're aware the plug's being pulled and they just can't say nothing, that I can understand the lack of enthusiasm to implement it, but if the game's going to continue for a foreseeable future, I personally don't understand why it's not even a discussion. So let's get to the topic at hand, which is endgame difficulty. In most multiplayer games, that's not only looters, but MMOs. I would just say PvE games in general has this concept and embrace it. But when it comes to Marvel Avengers, they kind of fall short. And I'm just going to use a few examples that I've personally done myself, so it's more or less my experience with other games. On the screen now is the Division 2. Although a more PvP focused endgame, it does have a challenging PvE. There's also Outriders with its scaling difficulty. I personally have a CT-15 Devastator build, but what these two have in common, it rewards you for playing on a harder difficulty. And that's something Marvel Avengers lacked when it first released. And when you hear stories, this was intended to be a single player game and the looting aspect was just tacked on, all this starts to make a little sense. But there's a solution because it's been done. An easy one is link Brutal Challenge to some type of currency that you can only get during those missions. For example, an item shop that sells unique skins, takedowns, and nameplates. If one thing Marvel Avengers show me, people love their skins. And playing hard content for them seems like a worthy trade-off. So put the best of the best in there. Add new elite mob takedowns, animated nameplates. Here's a big brain idea. If you had a reroll system, this is the perfect time to implement it and link it to an item in the shop. Because I'm gonna be blunt with this fact. Reroll system isn't necessary for enemies that are around your power level, much less below it. Hell, the only downside this would have, it lowers the value of scum saving. You're right, I'm just playing, there's not a downside, and I'm more or less going to get some dislikes for that one, but it had to be said. But even current mission content can flourish with brutal difficulty by just adding mission chains, or those destructible walls and computer hacking options heroes can do. Link it to being able to unlock a mini boss instead of chests, but it's only available on the brutal version of the mission. There's tons of opportunities for the in hives, and for added bonus, a targeted loot system since we have multiple hives. I'll use this forest hive as an example, having a higher chance to roll precision stats from its gear drops. And to be fair, for those casuals who don't want to put in the effort, tie event missions to the item shop, but the brutal version gives more currency. Link faction rewards or even challenge card rewards. With all that said, there's a technical aspect I have a small understanding on, but I do know that brutal difficulty is already in the game. Adding specific currencies already in the game as well, like the Red Room event items. And touching on those currencies, they are pretty much useless after collecting 300. So add items to the shop that uses that currency, and that small change gives people more reasons to play. And a reason to wait for the next Red Room event. But at the end of the day, it's not up to me. If FF14 has taught me anything, if your developers are not as passionate as you are, it's a lost cause and just an uphill battle to be heard. I can understand if CD was forced to push this looter narrative with lack of experience, but the difficulty aspect only elevates the game content and not make it just about exploit, leaks, and speculations. And with that said, I'm gonna just wind it down here. Look, I play Avengers until the wheels fall off, because I can appreciate the gameplay and the promise it shows on Brutal. And that's just by playing other games with that embrace that mindset. Because you aren't going to be seeing a dual wield Hulk build anywhere, because the whole build concept is useless if your enemies die too quickly. On good notes, 2.4 definitely shined a nice light. We have Jane dropping in a few weeks and 2.5 in the horizon. So all I could do is hope for the best. Since I'm nearing the end, I'd like to give a shout out to my dude Yard Rats for always spreading the word, especially in Avengers Discord, which by the way is a concept that's downvoted over there. Would also like to point out our Jordy's community. It's a great community that keeps the discussion going about the game in a positive light, so definitely check out his Discord. And last but not least, the DSG community. We plan events for a variety of games. If the brutal content aspects what you're interested in, we have a monthly event called Test Your Might, where players can test their builds against each other. All links are in the description. And like I say, Avengers at its core is fun, but it just needs a little push to get it over the edge. And with that said, thanks for tuning in to my first Zer0 Thoughts episode. And if you found this video informative, you know the gist. Like, comment, and subscribe. If you're like-minded like me on this, definitely share the video. Honestly, nobody loses if this is done right. If you wish to get in contact with me, my socials will be in the description. And I'll leave you with these humbling words.